Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today's video is a 2-for-1 deal. We are going to be comparing the standard output Hurricane to the high output Hurricane, but we're also going to compare a Laramie to a Limited to see what the differences are and to see if you should actually spend the extra money that the Limited commands. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Carl Malone Dodge Ram here in Heber for giving me some time with both of these trucks. Both of these are currently available for sale, so if you're interested, link to their website in the description down below. Link to my car buying guide as well. Let's get into it. The standard output Hurricane is a 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy 17 around town and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 420 horsepower and then 469 pound-feet of torque. Now the new high output is also a twin-turbo 3-liter inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed. Fuel economy is a little bit less, 15 around town and then 21 on the highway. Power outputs, though, are quite a bit more. 540 horsepower, so 120 more horsepower. And then 521 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with this comparison, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So looking at things face value, I think to the untrained eye, a lot of people aren't really going to be able to tell the difference, but if you look a little bit closer, you can see with the Limited, you've got this custom grille, you've got different headlights with kind of like fancy LEDs. Comes standard with stuff like tow hooks. You can see it doesn't have tow hooks on the Laramie, but those are options you can add. And then there's a big difference with the badges. So see with the Laramie SST, because it's got the regular versus high output. And then there's a difference with the wheels too. Look at the design here with the Limited versus the Laramie. I know, very similar, but it's slightly different. That's why I say to the untrained eye. And then you can see they both have the painted fender flares. The Ram logos. The Limited, though, has that little strip that goes along the side. And I picked trucks that both have Ram boxes to try to make it so the MSRPs were as, like, well, not the MSRPs, but the options were as close as possible so you could see the actual MSRP difference. Now, something to note, I do think, got to turn over here, this Laramie is, yeah, standard suspension, whereas the Limited comes standard with air suspension. So that's a big difference. You can see the Limited has bed liner with this setup, whereas the Laramie, that's an option. So you notice a lot of stuff standard with the Limited versus the Laramie. And then taking a look at the taillights. Yeah, they are different. The Limited has slightly fancier. You can see like with the LEDs and everything in there. But then notice like the back with the badging. It's pretty similar with both of them. So they look more similar than different, I'd say. Now, something else to note, Laramie has a 392 axle ratio option. 392 axle ratio standard on the Limited. And this, of course, leads us inside. So with the Laramie, this one has an interior that I haven't showed you guys before, so I figured I'd put it in this video. It's really cool with the brown and the white. I know some people are going to say, Ben, this is going to get dirty really fast, and yes, I understand. But it's just the material use. Got like kind of like the little inserts right there and everything. And then feature-wise, we just have heated seats in the back, recline function with these seats as well, buckets underneath. And if we close that and pop over to the Limited, you notice that all black with this one, but look at the trim. It's a little bit fancier with that. Interestingly enough, this has like a scratchier cloth. Like the Laramie is like kind of suede, smooth. This is like a cloth trim. But regardless, the seats are fancier overall with real leather and everything. You see like the wood trim down below, heated and cooled seats in the back, recline function, all of that. And this leads us to the front of the Laramie. This interior really pops quite a bit. You can see here for all the mirror adjustments and everything, which is pretty cool, memory seat function. And then let's see what the payload difference is. So 1426. And then you can see with the seats here, Laramie on them, quite different with the look. And then hopping in, the dash is completely different with both of them in terms of material use. Got the Laramie there on the glove box. Quickly start it up. Standard gauge cluster, so not fully digital. And then you can see you've got stuff like the adaptive cruise control, advanced four-wheel drive system. This one has an axle lock too, interestingly enough. See if it has the 360 camera. I don't think it does. Yeah, just a regular camera. You got the center console set up here with the wireless phone charging pad and some outlets. Got the Ram logo there on the top. They actually made the headliner match, which is cool. But yeah, panoramic sunroof, all that. So they're optioned out pretty similarly. So with the Limited, again, fancier with the door panel trim. Limited gets massaging seats, standard with the upgraded sound system. Less payload, so 1,253 pounds, so a little bit less. And then you can see the front seats again, fancier kind of design there. And then the big thing you'll notice is full digital gauge cluster, standard with the Limited. See with the nice trim here on the bottom of the steering wheel. And then fancier trim on the dash. Goes across. We have a screen instead of a glove box. Still not sure how to feel about that. This is pretty much all the same. No axle lock though, funny enough. And then this trim is nicer. Same thing with this. So it looks a little bit fancier, but same features. You know, panoramic sunroof and all that. And then you got like leather on the grab handles. That's kind of funny. Now when it comes to pricing, the Limited stickers for just over 81, whereas the Laramie stickers for just over 74. So that's a pretty decent price difference. Let's take them out and see how the powertrains perform. Setting off in the Limited. Wasn't expecting to review this today, but always a good day when something like this pops in. I actually came up here to review a 392, and what's gonna happen another day, and this is gonna happen today. Pretty cool, I think. But first things first, high output sounds pretty dang smooth. It's a little bit rowdier than the standard output. Seems with the sound. I think it's cool that they make this standard with the 392 axle ratio, so it's always going to have that punchy feel off the line. Man, this is so comfy with this air suspension. Really does help out with the bumps and everything. Kind of deletes some of the stuff on the road, which is a nice experience. It's definitely a nice experience. And I'll give myself one more fan speed. It is hot. Yeah, I will say, very smooth. Still pretty quiet. Very smooth. Okay, that was pretty rambunctious right off the bat. So let's pop it into sport mode here. Okay, see how this performs. Whoa! Okay, I'll get another one in just a moment, but that is hardcore. It just, you know, it's just like most turbocharged engines. It's got a little bit of lag, but then it just rips your head off. Gets into that boost and it's just like, bye-bye, see ya. Okay, I mean, just, oh man, this is like a sports car engine. It's like it's really torqued in the low end, and then it builds, and then it just rips through red line. This is such a cool engine. It's weird this isn't a pickup truck. This is a weird engine for a pickup truck. It's just, it's so weird. It feels like it keeps building power throughout the power band. What in the world am I driving? Wow. New high output. It's nice. This is nice. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out a place to turn around here. So, as I was saying, this new Limited, still luxury truck, and now it's got like a sports car engine. At least that's kind of what it feels like. It really does just have such an interesting power band. Like I said, it rips, and then as you get to redline, it just pulls harder and harder. It's very interesting. Such an interesting powertrain. So that's the new high output inline 6. Let me know if you guys want more tests on this. I'm more than happy to do that. So like, you know, fuel economy test and all of that fun stuff. Just let me know in the comment section below and we'll get her done. let us set off in the standard output. I always like to do these back-to-backs with driving the more premium powertrain first and then driving the regular one. The reason I do it that way is obviously if I go from the regular one to the more premium one, it's gonna be like, oh, this one's faster. This one, yeah, right? So I think a better way is to do it this way, where I can then see if I feel disappointed, right? After driving that premium powertrain and going to this regular one, do I feel like I just downgraded a massive amount in the powertrain department, or does this feel like it's more than enough? And that, folks, is what we are going to find out on today's episode of Which Engine is Coolest? What I will say right off the bat is it does feel like this is a little bit less torquey. It's not as big of a difference as I thought. Might be. This doesn't feel slow by any means. It still has a really good torquey feel, but you do feel the power difference. And I feel like the other one just feels like it's more on edge all the time. This, it's calmer, kind of just more like, yeah, hey, I'll get the job done, don't rush me. Get it in the sport mode here. Yeah, not quite as on edge still, that's what I'm noticing. Gonna give this truck a little bit of space. There's no one behind me anyways. It does the same thing. Doesn't pull quite as hard. I mean, I'll get another one up here in just a moment, but it does the same thing where it just rips to redline. It's the interesting thing about the new Hurricane, because a lot of these turbocharged truck engines just kind of teeter off towards the end. Like, they've got good low end torque and then they just kind of die. It's just, it's like I said, it's more like a sports car because it just rips up to the red line. Try that again. Yeah, it's still quick. It doesn't rip quite as hard. I feel like the high output revs faster. This seems, and they both have 392 axle ratios, so it's not like it's an axle ratio difference. It just feels like that revs up faster than this. So it is quicker. There is a benefit to it. Feels like that powertrain is going to rip your head off more than this one. Which one should you go for? You know, I think it's just like most other manufacturers of these turbocharged engines. The lower output version, long run, long term, always ends up being more reliable. Always. Like, there's no arguing that. That's what happens every single time. So I mean, look at Ford's EcoBoost is a perfect example. The 3.5 EcoBoost, when it first came out, it had like sub 400 horsepower. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was like 350, 370 range. And then torque was like low 400s, okay? Now, in the Raptor, pushing, 450 horsepower, over 500 pound-feet of torque, and they're not as reliable. Like, you get an EcoBoost that's lower power output, like those 20, like get a 2015, right? With the 6-speed automatic. Those trucks easily get over 200,000 miles. Good luck getting that on a Raptor, right? A Gen 2 or a Gen 3 Raptor with the high output. So I can't say now with this truck because it's new, but it'll probably be a pretty similar situation where the high output, because of how much power it's pushing, is just not going to be as reliable. So let me know which one you go for. The high output, obviously quicker, but worse fuel economy, and we'll see reliability long term, but I'd be shocked if it was more reliable than this.